Hi guys, welcome to Sourcing Classes. This is Hima Hegde bringing to you a video session on the topic Section 377. I repeat, the topic for the day is Section 377, Constitutionality versus Morality. We will be discussing two dimensions of the Article 377, that is constitutionality versus morality. Now, here are the snapshots of the newspaper clippings, headlines basically, that speak of the same, that is the Section 377. They read, Section 377 second anniversary, call for celebration but miles to go. Lawyers behind scrapping of 377 now step forward to legalize same gender marriage. Basically, this headline came about in the month of September, that is when the second anniversary of decriminalization of Section 377 was celebrated. So before we understand what exactly is Section 377, it is important for us to know the context. That is, why exactly are we discussing this? Why exactly are we discussing Section 377 or its decriminalization? Now, the Supreme Court recently decriminalized homosexuality. It decriminalized homosexuality. Homosexuality is basically the intercourse among the same gender. So this has been decriminalized by striking off parts of the Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code which were held violative of the fundamental rights of the LGBTQ community. LGBTQ is nothing but lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer community. So there were parts of the Section 377 which were violative of the fundamental rights of the LGBTQ community, and that's why they had to be striked off or removed. So that is the context. So here's the roadmap. We'll first know what is it, that is what exactly is the Section 377. We'll then address the constitutional dimension, that is the topic is Section 377 constitutionality versus morality. So it is important for us to speak of it constitutionally. And then the issues, that is the issues with the Section 377 and why it had to be scraped off. Then the law and morality, that is the moral dimension. And lastly and most importantly, we'll look into the way forward. So let us begin. So what is it? What exactly is Section 377? Now Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, basically a relic of British India, states that whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse is basically the physical intercourse, physical relationship or the sexual relationship against the order of nature with any man, woman or animal shall be punished or penalized. So now when they say that against the order of nature, this is also inclusive of consensual sex, of consensual sex between the adults of same sex. Now however, after the recent SC judgment, provisions of 377 remain applicable only in case of non-consensual carnal intercourse with adults, all acts of carnal intercourse with minors, and any act of bestiality. Now what is bestiality? It is the act of intercourse between a human being and an animal. Now this had to be scraped off due to obvious reasons. So except for this section, that is non-consensual carnal intercourse and all acts of carnal intercourse with minors and acts of bestiality, the remaining parts of the Section 377 were scraped off after the recent SC judgment, that is the Supreme Court judgment. Now let us address the constitutional dimension. So constitutionally speaking, now first of all, you all know that the Article 14 speaks of equality. The Article 14 of the Constitution guarantees equality. SC made it very clear that the Article 14 guarantees equality before the law, and this applies to all classes of citizens. Now this should be applicable to all the classes of citizens, including the LGBTQ community. Now SC upheld the preeminence of constitutional morality in India by observing the equality before the law and said that it cannot be denied by giving precedence to public or religious morality. Now basically this talks about inclusiveness. Inclusiveness. That is, Article 14 talks about equality before the law, then that gives us no reason for this to be not applicable for the LGBTQ community. Next, SC also noted that the modern psychiatric studies and legislations recognize that the gay persons and the transgender do not suffer from a mental disorder. This is not a mental disorder and therefore it cannot be penalized or punished. Nextly, the Supreme Court also observed that homosexuality, that is the sex between the same gender, is not unique to humans, which dispels the prejudice that it is against the order of nature. Now lastly, SC talks about the Yogyakarta principles. Now what is Yogyakarta principles? Now this is basically a document. Yogyakarta principles is a document on human rights. On human rights that speaks in the areas of sexual orientation and gender identity. Now the Supreme Court states that the Yogyakarta principles on the application of international law in the relation to issues of sexual orientation and gender identity should be applied as a part of the Indian law. This should be applied as a part of the Indian law. That is what the Supreme Court is stating. Moving on, let us now look at the issues. Issues of what? Issues with the section 377. So the first one and the obvious one was it was violating the fundamental rights. It was in violation with the fundamental rights. Now the sexual orientation and its relationship to the fundamental rights has been the heart of the debate. Now this is the most important point in the debate. That is, SC in its judgment specifically said that right to privacy and protection of sexual orientation lie at the core of the fundamental right, which is guaranteed by the Article 14, that is the equality before law, Article 15, that is prohibition of discrimination on the basis of race, religion, caste, sex, place of birth, Article 21, that is protection of life and liberty, and Article 19, that is freedom of expression of the Constitution. So now basically we all know that the section 377 had parts which were in violation with the fundamental rights of the people. So here are the articles mentioned in particular which is against the equality and it is in favor of discrimination, and it violates the Article 21 which talks about the protection of life and liberty and also the freedom of expression. Lastly, it identified that the LGBTQ community possess the same fundamental rights as others. That is, while decriminalizing the consensual sex between homosexuals, the Supreme Court observed that the members of LGBTQ community, that is the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer community, possess the same fundamental rights as others. Then comes the health issues. The health issues. So now criminalization of homosexuality leads to discrimination. This is an obvious one. Criminalization would lead to discrimination and this results in, the discrimination results in the LGBTQ people getting poor and inadequate access to services within the health system. I repeat, the criminalization of homosexuality leads to discrimination and results in the LGBTQ people getting poor and inadequate access to services within the health system. It also creates barriers to both the availability and ability to access the HIV prevention, testing and treatment services. Public health evidence also indicates a clear relationship of a lack of social acceptance. A lack of social acceptance and legal rights with substance abuse, violence, isolation and mental illness. Moving on, let us now discuss the moral dimension. We have already looked into the constitutional dimension of the same. We'll now discuss what is morality. We'll discuss this in brief. Now, those against legalizing the gay sex argue that it is against the moral values of the society. This is the core argument put forth by the people in favor of or under the umbrella of morality, that it is simply against the moral values. However, the activists arguing for it say that what is forbidden in religion need not be prohibited under law, need not be prohibited in law. This is a beautiful statement. The activists say that what is forbidden in religion need not be prohibited in law. This is what is the moral dimension. So now let us look at the way forward. We have addressed so far the constitutional dimension and also the moral dimension. And now let us look into the way forward. So firstly, we have the transformative constitutionalism. As heavy as it sounds, it simply means that the very purpose of constitutionalism is to transform society. That is, the Indian constitution ought to adapt and transform with the changing needs of times. With the changing needs of times, it is basically talking about the adaptation with the changes. So the very purpose of constitutionalism is to transform society. That is, it has to be dynamic in nature. It has to be dynamic in nature. Now, dynamic constitutional interpretation allows for the progressive realization of rights as the societies evolve and is also essential to enable transformative constitutionalism. Next, it is important for us to understand that decriminalizing homosexuality may not remove the social stigma around it. It is important to battle with the same. So, law and morality are different things. Now, this has been the crux of this topic, of this video, that is, constitutionality or the law and morality are different things. While constitutionality talks about the fundamental rights and etc., morality is basically the acceptance. Now, our legislatures may frame laws or courts may deliver judgments that are ahead of the moral values of the society. But it would be far-fetched to expect that the moral values can be changed because of the court judgments. So now this comes to the third and the most important topic here, that is battling the stigma. While this decision by the country's highest court is certainly significant, there needs to be more of an impetus for social change and removing the ignorance from the society. That is, there needs to be campaigns. One needs to conduct campaigns in order to create awareness, not just the awareness, but also to educate people on what exactly is homosexuality. Now, awareness and education go hand in hand. The government should also conduct programs. The government should conduct programs to end the stigma around homosexuality, and individuals employed with the government should receive workshops to sensitize them to the subject. So we have discussed that there could be campaigns, government programs in order to basically create awareness and educate the people. Right education and awareness wins against battling the stigma to a very great extent. Also, the government bodies, especially the ones related to health, the most important one related to the health and the law and order, need to be sensitized and made aware about the changed position of law to ensure that the LGBTQ community is not denied public services or harassed for their sexual orientation. So now let's have a quick recap of what we have learned. So firstly, we understood what exactly is Section 377 and why there were certain parts, the issues with certain parts of Section 377 and why it had to be scrapped. The issues could be the ones with the health or the fundamental rights. We then looked into two dimensions, that is the constitutionality, which talks about the right to equality, the freedom of expression, to life and liberty and etc., versus the morality, which is basically the acceptance. Lastly, we have concluded with the way forward. Hope we were helpful in making the concept more understandable. For any details regarding the course, do visit the official Sourcing Classes website, that is www.sourcingclasses.com. Thank you.